I'm excited to introduce our first panel. We all know that this holiday season is like no other. Many of us have had to reevaluate our playbooks and find new strategies for holiday 2020. This panel has 3 industry leaders who are going to talk about their holiday 2020 plans. I'd like to welcome to the virtual stage Kate Huyett, CMO of Bombas, Chris Lindland, CEO of Betabrand, and Chandra Cooks, Marketing Director at Mented Cosmetics. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Well, I'm thrilled that you all could be part of this discussion. To kick things off, I'd love to have each of you introduce yourselves and your respective companies. Chris, do you want to go first?
Yes, glad to. I'm the founder of Betabrand. Betabrand's an online clothing company. Our #1 product are dress pant yoga pants. But the big idea behind our company is to be a social network that happens to sell clothing.
Perfect. Chandra?
Yes. Okay. So my name is Chandra Cooks. I'm the marketing director for Mented Cosmetics, and we're a pigment-first beauty brand celebrating people of all hues. We believe that no one deserves to be an afterthought in the world of beauty, and so pigment is our passion.
Perfect. Kate, you're on mute, by the way, so make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Kate. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Bombas. Bombas is an apparel company that donates an item to those in need for every item purchased.
Awesome. Such a great brand. I hear your ads all the time on podcasts and radio. To kick things off, so I want to start with the customer, because when you're thinking about marketing, it always starts with the customer. And, customer expectations for this holiday season, what do you think that they are, kind of given everything going on? We have the pandemic, we have protests, we have the election. Chris, do you want to start here?
Yeah, glad to kick it off. I think it's safe to say, with our understanding of how e-commerce businesses work, but also our expectation that traditional apparel businesses will be very active online this fall, I think everybody can look forward to not just Black Friday, but Black Fall. Predict every day will be a deal buster and doorbuster wherever you look on the internet.
Chandra, Kate, anything you want to add in terms of customer expectations this holiday season?
Yeah, I think I think recommendations and word of mouth is going to be really big. You're used to wandering in the mall and not really necessarily knowing what you're going to get for your mom or your sister or your brother, and you just kind of walk into a store and now you can't do that. And so your discovery, I think, is going to be really depending on who's going to be sharing about the products and the brands and why they love them, which will make you feel more confident in your future purchases for a brand you haven't tried before.
So a lot of listening to what your friends and your family are recommending.
And influencers, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree with both of those things. I think the other real shift we've seen that's more of an acceleration of a trend than a wholesale shift is that people are really conscious in a different way this year about where their dollars are going. So whether that's to Black-owned and founded businesses, whether that's to socially conscious or environmentally conscious brands, I think there's much more intention on the consumer side around that.
Yeah, and that makes sense, kind of given the world around them these days. It's
Yes.
I think we're more socially conscious than we've ever been as consumers. Chris, I want to turn back to you for a second, because you mentioned Black Fall, right? So, how much are consumers how much does discounting matter this season? Is it going to be important for brands?
A number of years back, we had a stunt where I actually made a video game where Santa was fighting Dracula for the rights to bring holiday sales all the way into October. And that was fun, but it's true. And this year will be bananas. What I always wonder, and I'm sure that Kate and Chandra and most people are listening, is you would have assumed that consumers would go, okay, these are just the deals I'm going to get throughout the holiday season. Yet again and again, we're blown away by how, even though we're offering amazing deals in the weeks preceding Black Friday, you just see this enormous spike regardless, and on Cyber Monday too. So my, guidance to any e-marketer out there is that no matter how aggressive you are with your deals, you'll still find people who won't believe it until Black Friday.
Oh, interesting. So you don't think that they can pull them in? I mean, especially with Prime Day happening earlier this year, you don't think we can pull customers in earlier? You think they're still going to play that waiting game until that big Cyber weekend? Yeah. Well, great. And that's always, I think that's one of the big challenges we're going to have this holiday season in particular, because we know that there's a shipping crunch and we want people to shop earlier, but I think there's a few challenges that are going to be playing into this equation. One is probably this expectation that the best deals are going to come on Cyber weekend, no matter what we tell them, or Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And then the other is that because you're seeing less people, I think it's going to be harder to get information about what your extended family and friends may want this holiday. So that will probably add to some of the challenges. So we're all going to have a little bit of this balancing act between, we want people to shop sooner and whether they'll be ready. Chandra,
quick, Veronika, I do want to note there's going to be some customers out there that are going to realize that it has taken in all of their shopping needs over the past couple of months, items that they are used to getting in a day or two or 3 days, they are not getting. They're getting in weeks. And those people are going to realize that they need to do their shopping sooner because shipping is going to be an issue. And so for those, we're hoping to capture those, get those, and have them tell their friends, you need to get your stuff now. And then also when it comes to D2C brands, you're starting to see more and more of the top banner on their site saying, due to COVID, these are our shipping issues. And so hopefully there will be some, even though we will tell them to Kingdom Come, like, do it now. You might not get it in time. Some of those things should allow some of those customers to start thinking, okay, I really do need to get on board. Otherwise, I might not get anything in time.
Yeah, that's great insight. Just constantly notifying people and letting them know, when the shipping cutoffs are. That's incredibly important. Chandra,
to give you a sense, Chandra, I wrote down immediately, she's right. Oh my God. We got to make sure we really need to make sure we talk about everything with our logistics companies, et cetera. So you're dead on. And I'm very excited to speak to my supply chain about that right now.
I think that's going to be one of the big challenges for this holiday season. What else are you doing, Chandra? What else are you doing differently this holiday from an e-commerce perspective?
Lots of things, but so from a discounting perspective, we are. It's in our DNA to do promotions. Makeup brands. It's hard not to when you're in such a competitive space. And so we are starting a lot earlier. And one of the main reasons we are not starting at the same time as Amazon is because something is coming. And so it's conflicting with that. But we will have a promotional mindset. We're focusing on telling a story, not only of gifting for others, but self-gifting, because this is makeup. What can we do to make it easier for her or him or they to want to make a purchase for someone else, think of themselves, and then think of all the other people that they might as well buy for. So what kind of bundle offers can we give to them? What kind of special kits can we put together that make it easier for them to think, oh, this will just be great for me to buy for Sarah or Jane. And then we've also enlisted some custom items that we've had working with illustrators and things of that nature. So things that are with Mented in mind, but aren't necessarily makeup, that are going to be small gifting items that are going to get us to a higher AOV, a bigger cart, which is important for us.
So kind of curating and helping consumers inspire them to basically come up with gifts for themselves or their friends and loved ones, so that they can get started on their holiday shopping early. That's a great tip. And Kate, is there anything that you want to add to that? Because when we had the prep call, you mentioned that Bombas is a big kind of post Black Friday holiday purchase. So how do you kind of get consumers to shop earlier?
Yeah. So, we definitely experienced what Chris is describing earlier of people waiting. Last year I had, friends and family. I had told them at the beginning of the year, we're probably going to sell out, buy early. It'd be a week before Cyber Monday, and they'd be like, I'm holding out for Cyber Monday. I was like, I already told you, our best discount is live. Get your stuff. I don't understand. And these are people with my personal, phone number and my personal confirmation that this was true. So if that's true for those people last year, I can only imagine that will sort of continue this year. We did a pretty meaningful percentage of our Q4 revenue last year between December 10th and December 20th, which I consider sort of the days most at risk from a shipping perspective. So we're doing a lot of planning around that, and sort of similar to what both Chris and Chandra have described, really making an effort to pull demand forward.
Awesome. So great tips so far, kind of helping gift guides to help consumers figure out what to buy, making sure they know that they need to buy early. I want to talk about paid marketing this holiday season. And Kate, I'll start with you. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Veronika, I just want to interrupt real quick. From a tactical perspective, I think it's really important to go by channel and making sure that you're assessing what you're doing now and making sure you're tweaking things for later. Something that I didn't mention is one of the things that we're doing is for email, we're going through all of our automation flows and really doing a check and balance on footers, what it looks like, making sure that it feels on brand for the holiday. What offers are we giving to them that make sense now or won't make sense later, that conflict with the promotions that we will have? All of that stuff is important. And one of the things we were talking about earlier today is, inside scoop, we highlight the expedited shipping during the holiday last year. This year, that needs to go because I cannot promise that we can expedite anything. I cannot promise that you will get it when they said it, they will get it. And I don't want to hinder or I don't want to build a huge pipeline for our customer service, apologizing and giving like our bad codes. Like we just can't have that. So those are the kinds of things that you really should be looking for. And it can be a lot. So I encourage you to think about it now and get your Excel spreadsheets and figure out what you're turning on and when and what works for you.
Yeah, and actually on our last session, Sarah Rasmussen from Land's End mentioned also just over communicating with customers. Like even if you're sending one extra email, like we got your order is shipped, your order will arrive in this many days, your order is coming tomorrow, your order will be there today. But just like continuing to update them just helps them not freak out if delivery takes a little bit longer than expected.
Yeah.
Very good advice. Now, Kate, we're going to turn to you and talk about paid media.
Yes.
What are you doing differently this holiday from a paid media perspective?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things we talked about earlier, which was just shifting as we try to pull demand forward, we're also shifting some of our dollars earlier, which makes sense. Something that we did more of this year, honestly, even before we had planned to do even before 2020 turned out to be the 2020 is buying a little bit more of our TV on a fixed basis. So we were worried about with the competition, both around the election and also around traditional retailers and e-commerce brands fighting for space in November. We predominantly generally buy TV on a direct response basis. So we were just worried about being priced out and not clearing the inventory that we had hoped to. And so we increased our percentage of fixed media there. The other thing that we've really continued to do, which has been a focus for us really over a longer period of time, is diversify our overall mix. So trying to reduce the dependence on any one channel. And then I think we've continued to improve our understanding of how the channels interact with each other. So for us, one of the big things that we keep a close eye on is what's the mix between online and offline. Because as we get bigger in our budgets, our channels are interacting with each other more at scale. You can't just sort of yank back one channel and expect that efficiency in that channel is going to improve and that'll improve everything. It's much more of an ecosystem. And so really paying attention to relationships between key channels over the course of the whole period will be pretty important for us this year.
All very good suggestions. Until you mentioned it, I didn't even think about the political impact on advertising.
Oh yeah.
You have a lot of advertising dollars that are going towards political ads. Now all of the retailers and brands in the audience have to contend with. Chris or Chandra, anything to add on the paid media side?
No, I mean, Kate is very good at that area.
We'll go to a rapid fire question. I think just to kind of mix things up and keep things moving. If you all had unlimited budget, what would you try this holiday season? And I guess, Chandra, I'll start with you. And what would you try if you had unlimited budget, could spend money on whatever you wanted?
Yeah, I think I would have tried. Well, number one, I wouldn't be trying anything during the holiday season. Testing is not the right time to be testing. You should be only increasing the tests that you've done before that worked well, and unless it's really a really small test, and then like, is it even necessary? But I would have loved to have tried podcasts earlier.
Yeah.
We're a much smaller brand. We'll be 4 in January, so our budget is not large, if you will. I wish once COVID had started, I would have tested direct mail. I think that would have done really well for us, targeted direct mailing. And then we'd started on a pretty significant sampling program before COVID started, and I wish I'd had time to ramp that up and take advantage of all the webinars and conferences that were happening at like a large scale, targeted, but at a large scale. I think that would have been a really good traffic driver and bringing people in the funnel and a really good brand awareness play. Did it at a small scale. I have a very lean team, but if I'd done it at a larger scale, I would have a lot more potential for Q4 than I do. Not to say that I don't have a large number now, but you can always do better.
Yeah. Chris, what would you do?
Limitless budget?
Limitless budget.
That would be Michelle Obama launching all new dress pant yoga pants on Betabrand. I mean, I am a super duper fan of live commerce, and there really aren't many media with which to do it from, so we do it on our own. But personality driven advocacy is supremely awesome. And it's even more exciting when a person speaks for a while and doesn't just show Instagram photos.
Yeah, awesome. And I'm excited to have you share about that in a little bit.
Sure.
How about you?
So I agree with what Chandra said about not sort of testing anything for the first time in Q4. I'm going to take off my marketing hat and just go with my personal point of view on this at the moment, which is something I'm feeling really inspired by throughout COVID is the creativity of, I would say Gen Z specifically, but in particular, the just people on TikTok. I just am absolutely continue to just love what happens there. And I think it would be really fun to spend a lot of money there and sort of figure out ways to engage with that creativity and see what kinds of stories other people might tell about our brand, but to do it with enough scale that it's truly interesting. Yeah.
TikTok is a prime example of just how many creative people we have in this country. It's amazing what people put together on TikTok. Well, we talked about a bunch of things, and we covered paid marketing earlier. So Chandra, I want to move to you and talk about earned marketing, since that's been more of your focus. What are you doing in the earned marketing space this holiday?
Yeah, so I won't say that what we're doing is necessarily different, but shifting it to be more organized, pulling things up further along and be more time conscious. So something that we do is from a existing customer perspective, every time you make a purchase, you're going to get a thank you card in your mailer. That's a standard thing, and they change by quarter based off of what we're promoting, so they will turn to holiday. But on top of that, what we'll be doing is sending out physical cards to our top VIPs, and these are people who are spending quite a bit on makeup this year. I won't say the number because I don't want anybody to feel upset about how much they've spent on makeup, but we will be sending them a physical card in the mail that says thank you. We will also be sending a physical card to some of our top 150 to 200 influencers this year, thanking them for their service, if you will, because without them, people would not know that we exist. Without the vast differences between their shades, people would not know that what something would look like on them, because they're not used to seeing themselves in the world of beauty. But then the added component, which is different this year, is each one of those cards will have a QR code on it, where we're giving them like a little surprise, and so we're paying them to make a purchase, right? And so if you've already purchased with us, we're trying to figure out how to get you to purchase with us again immediately. In the thank yous that we have, that hopefully are a surprise and delight because they might not have gotten it before, we're hoping to thank you for it to be that letter from our founders, and then to hopefully get you to think about buying something for your friends, because if anybody, the VIPs and the influencers know what our products look like, feel like, and do for their confidence.
That's amazing. I mean, gratitude is just such a great way to get people to engage with your brand, and such a smart way of doing that. Chris or Kate, do you want to add anything on the earned marketing side? If not, I'm going to move to outside the box strategies with Chris. All right, Chris, you already touched on it, and you gave us a little teaser. So now we really want you to talk about your outside the box marketing strategies, because you've been doing some very cool things at Betabrand.
Yeah, I would sort of say that, most people who are watching, or certainly the people on the panel, have heard the astonishing numbers of social commerce in China. And for all that are not familiar with the process, it's essentially just this magical mashup of chat rooms and live commerce. What's incredible about it is that, and I would advise Chandra to look into this, is that your most amazing fans show up and they become the sort of the Greek chorus of just how cool a brand new thing is. And so it creates this entirely different live wire energy where it's like a bazaar of obsessive interest in the brand new thing. But what's cool about it is that you're witnessing real opinion, real thoughts, real excitement. And so that's where we've been investing much of our energies for the last year. And I love it to pieces, because every time it happens, it's not just the cool idea Chandra has, or the latest great product. It's quite literally this sort of incredible community meetup where the theme is how great it is to buy your new stuff. So for my purposes, it's the most interesting thing happening in e-commerce right now. Not Betabrand's take, but just this very new thing of kind of looking at Twitch and saying, that's crazy. Let's turn that into shopping. And that's kind of what you see in Chinese social commerce. So that's what we've been doing. I love it. And I will continue to invest more and more in it.
And Chris, you were doing this before COVID, right? Because if I recall correctly, this is you just expanded after COVID, but you were doing this before.
Yeah, we've been doing it for about a year and a half. We do about 5 hours of programming a week right now for 5 product launches. But if all my evil plans come to fruition, that'll increase many times over next year.
That's awesome. That's so great. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because shopping has always been social. We did that in person at shopping centers or malls. And I think now we're kind of looking at it and in a digital age, but especially with COVID where you may not see people, it has really great significance. One of the other things that we didn't have a chance to talk about, but I really think is important, is messaging. I mean, obviously it's a very different holiday season. How has messaging changed? And Kate, maybe start with you on that one.
Yeah. So I talked a little bit earlier about conscious consumerism and sort of that shift in the mentality towards wanting to be intentional with where your dollars are going. And so we're focused on that. Something that's always been a hallmark of our brand is the fact that for every item purchased, we donate an item to those in need. And we've donated more than 40 million items all across the country since we got started. What many people don't know about our donation items is that they are actually custom made for the needs of the homeless community that we serve. And so there's the sock is not wildly dissimilar to the one that you can buy on our site, but it's a little bit thicker to withstand longer wear. It's treated with an antimicrobial treatment for those who may have less access to laundry. And so from the beginning, Bombas were really built to be given to that community. And also socks, and I mentioned, we're an apparel brand, so we have a few other categories, but socks actually, especially in the current moment, are perfectly made to give. There's not a lot of sizing concerns. There's not a lot of color concerns. It's something the recipient, will almost definitely need. And so we're really focused on reinforcing sort of the ease of gifting that product and also the fact that it's benefiting someone in need.
That's awesome. I have definitely received and give Bombas socks over my holidays.
The other thing that we're leaning into more is what we call our happiness guarantee, which is basically if you buy our product and you're unhappy with it, no matter what the reason, we will sort of turn it around for you. And we've had a lot of fun with this guarantee in the past. So we had a dog-proof guarantee as part of the happiness guarantee. So if your dog, like, my parents' dogs love Bombas, they'll like literally root through the laundry basket and just find the Bombas. If you have a dog like that and they destroy your socks, we'll replace them. We had the laundry back guarantee at one point where if you lost a sock in the wash, we would replace it. And so we're also thinking, in a holiday season where it's a bit more stressful to be shopping, we're trying to think, we're really focused on how can we communicate that happiness guarantee in a way that resonates in the current moment and helps reassure people, like, we will make this gift work out for you, no matter who it's going to and no matter how it's happening.
That's awesome. And just, it made me laugh while you were saying it. So I'm sure it brings a lot of joy to customers.
Yes. A lot of dogs with socks in their mouths in our social feeds.
Krishna, Chandra, any other kind of messaging tips, changes that you have?
I mean, that's a hard one to follow. So I feel bad talking about makeup after that, to be honest. But I will say what we're doing is, it's not necessarily real-time marketing, but it's knowing what your customers are going to be going through at that time, right? And so if Friendsgiving is going to be a big thing for our customers, how can we help her, him, or they come through, like, do that virtually? How can we make them feel confident in their skin, whether it be online or in person? If you're going on date nights, outside, and you're going to be wearing masks, how can we help you feel the most confident that you can be from here up? Telling the story of our founders. It's, two founders, KJ Miller and Amanda E. Johnson, Harvard business grads. They had issues finding new lipsticks for themselves, for women of color. That's what we were founded on. How can we tell that story? How can we tell the story of them? How can we highlight some of those issues that women of color have had forever and are just now starting to get out of, and remind them that we are here for them and that these are the answers to those things that you need, especially in a time of love, right? So that's what we're doing. Maybe we need to also add some component and give some homeless people some makeup also. I'm not sure.
Self-love is important. No, it's all important. It's just different sides of the equation. I really appreciate you, Kate, Chandra, and Chris in absentia for taking the time and to share your wisdom. And you really left us with some great tips and advice and nuggets for what we can do to improve our holiday marketing. So thank you so much.